The second video I ever made for this channel was about the FeelWorld FW279, an ultra-bright outdoor monitor for less than $300. It didn't have many of the features I would have liked, like more advanced exposure tools, the ability to use LUTs, and a touchscreen interface. But here we are a year later, and we have the LUT7, which addresses a lot of the shortcomings of the FW279. So the question is, which one should you get? Well, the easy answer would be get the newest one, but life isn't easy and neither is making this choice, because in a very specific and yet relevant case, the FW279 outperforms a new monitor. So stick around, because I'm about to drop some truth to help you decide which one of these two puppies you should take out of the pound.
Do you feel like getting a dog now? I kind of feel like getting a dog now. Maybe one of the Sony ones. Hello, I'm Andre Correa, and this is Andre Correa Now, a show about the art of filmmaking, the craft behind it, and the technologies that make it all possible. You know, if you have been in the game for any time at all, I'm sure you came across a situation where the screen in the back of your camera just doesn't cut it. And although there are cameras that have many assist tools, some have almost none. Canon. We all know how important it is to get the right exposure, but an external monitor can do much more than just that. It can also help you with other essential functions such as focus, framing, and even sound level recording. If you're lucky enough to be working with a team, an additional monitor can also help them see what the camera sees. That way they can make adjustments that are appropriate for the scene. Because just like my deep-rooted avoidance tendencies, if it isn't in frame, it doesn't exist. But you know what does exist? The subscribe button. And if you haven't already, click on it. Because 1 out of 10 spiritual charlatans agree that being an Andre Correa Now subscriber is the longest path to short-term happiness. This is the LUT7, but there's also a LUT7S, which is basically the same thing, but the S comes with 2 additional SDI ports. And you will find, of course, the affiliate links for both in the descriptions below, and when you use them, you will be automatically helping the growth of this channel. You get this L bracket mount, and believe me, we're going to be talking about this later. You get instructions no one reads. Finally, an HDMI cable with a mini to micro adapter, because despite whatever your wife tells you, size does matter. Do me a favor, let me know if this ever happened to you in the comment section below. You're shooting a project in S-Log2 for a client. He walks behind the camera, takes a look at the monitor, and says what every expecting mother thinks doing an ultrasound test. Is that what it will look like? Well, the LUT7 fixes this issue, because you can load the corrective LUTs into the monitor. You will need an SD card and you won't be able to control the LUT's intensity, but having a more accurate image can help you manage your client's fears and allow your team to make better decisions. At 2200 nits, this is an ultra-bright outdoor monitor. Nothing new here. What is new is that the LUT7 has an ambient sensor on top. So if you're running and gunning, you can go from a dark room to the sunny street and the monitor would automatically adjust its brightness. If you're thinking that's nice, but you wouldn't want it all the time, no worries, you can turn it off. LUTs and brightness aside, the menu system is what really did me in. One of the problems with past FeelWorld monitors is that the menu system was so hard to navigate, you ended up not using any of the features. Yeah, you could reassign some of the function buttons on the top, but that still kept you limited. And although you continue to be able to reassign the function buttons and now also reassign the function wheel on the top, the menu system is so easy to use, I don't find myself looking for features I need but can't find. And that alone might be the biggest reason to buy the LUT7. Its technology doesn't get in the way. Another example of how it functions better than previous models is its dual battery design. The FW279 loves NPF batteries like a Feki loves cake, so having 2 hot swappable slots is great. The new exposure tools are very welcome improvements, but here's a word of caution. Even though the screen is very sharp and the image looks great, you should never trust it, and instead rely on zebras, false color, and waveform. Remember, the ultra bright screen can easily fool your eyes into thinking the image is correctly exposed when it's really not. Another feature worth mentioning is focus peaking. It's much more accurate and easier to use when compared to the FW279 because when you increase the intensity on the LUT7, the intensity actually goes up enough, making it easy for you to rack focus. And when you combine this finer control with the ability to pinch to zoom, getting tack sharp focus becomes a whole lot easier. And that's the running theme with this monitor. Everything is easier on it. And it costs less than the small HD Focus 7, which is whose lunch FeelWorld is trying to steal. And this is the perfect segue for the things I don't like about this monitor. My friends, I make no claims that I can predict the future. My worthless collection of pugs from the 1990s is clear evidence of this. But I can promise you, the screen from the LUT7 will not survive even the smallest of falls. The entire monitor is built out of plastic, which does not inspire confidence even in the most daring amongst us. The quarter 20 holes are so short that you get about a turn and a half before it releases, which can cause it to fall off your rig, and we all know how that's going to end up. But I would have to say that the most offensive part of all this is the L bracket. I was trying to figure out what would be the most descriptive and yet technically accurate term to describe it. Oh yeah, garbage. I mean, I love L brackets, they're perfect for gimbal use, but God, is this thing cheap. Small HD makes a much better one for $69 that I'm willing to bet it will fit on the LUT7, although I haven't tried it. So if any of you brave souls have, please let us know in the comments below. If there was ever a device that needed a small rig cage, this is it. Small rig, if you're listening, please make a cage for the LUT7. I think a lot of people will buy it, including myself. And while you're at it, please make an L bracket that works with the cage. My credit card standing by. Another quality issue that I have with my copy are the battery sockets. Sometimes they show that the battery is disconnected, so I gotta take out the battery, put it back on. It's fine, I guess, but it's not how it's supposed to work. There is a significant lack of consistency on the software side of things too. This is my second copy of the LUT7. The first one wouldn't show the battery levels at all and would not allow me to pinch to zoom. This copy shows the battery levels, but it still doesn't let me pinch to zoom, even though I've seen others on YouTube showing off this feature. My workaround for this issue was to assign the zoom function to the scroll wheel on top. If I move it one click to the right, it goes to 101%, and then I can pinch to zoom with no problem. It's not the end of the world, but it's not what's advertised. You have to keep an SD card in the monitor all the time because it doesn't save your LUTs internally when you remove the batteries. This is thanks to cutting-edge 1980s RAM technology that requires power to remember stuff. By the way, the monitor does come with some LUTs preloaded, and those don't get erased. So it's not 100% cheap memory, but it could be better. Thankfully, most of us have low-capacity SD cards that can easily store LUTs, so you just have the extra step of reloading them more than once. I like the menu system, especially when coming from the FW279. I do, however, wish that I could reassign the quick menu bar in the bottom, but you can't reassign all other buttons on the monitor, so may God grant you the serenity to accept the ones you can't, the courage to reassign the ones you can, and the wisdom to always expose to the right. Sounds like I'm blasting this. Well, good, I am. Because it needs blasting in the areas that it needs blasting, but there's also a lot of good here. It is cheaper and brighter than its competition, and even though there is no excuse for the L bracket and the quarter 20 problems, this is still a very nice tool. So, should you get one? Yeah, I'm keeping mine. Should you get one from the affiliate links below? Absolutely. But do so in an informed way. Because even though the LUT7 can be an integral part of your filmmaking arsenal, you're going to have to treat it like a hemophilic baby chick in a razor blade factory if you want to get any mileage out of it. The last kind of negative element of the LUT7 is tied in with a situation where perhaps the FW279 may be a better choice. If your camera already has all or many of the features of the LUT7 and all you need is the best outdoor viewable screen, then get the FW279. The LUT7 touchscreen is reflective enough to mitigate some of the benefits of the 2200 nits panel. It's not a deal breaker. You can still see outside, and it only really becomes a problem in the brightest and harshest environments. But if you're rocking a Blackmagic 4K or 6K, which can push the exposure tools to the monitor, then the FW279 becomes more attractive because its matte screen has little to no reflection even in the brightest of days. For Sony users and almost everybody else, I would recommend the LUT7, but buy it knowing of its limitations. For the love of God, buy a cage for it when anybody makes one. But that's it. I'm Andre Correa. This is Andre Correa Now, and I'll see you when I see you.